Hola, bienvenidos a mi canal, ¿cómo están? Or should I say, welcome back to my channel? Because yes, this video is going to be fully in English and with subtitles for y'all. Because we need to talk about Gabriel Boric meeting Justin Trudeau. I have to speak in English because a lot of people made fun of Gabriel for his English.
In a world that sometimes takes or they don't like diversity, we have to raise our voices on diversity.
My English is not perfect, I'm aware of that, but I will try my best to speak as best as I can, and if I make mistakes, I'm sorry. But in my defense, I didn't went to the British school, this is the most prestigious and expensive school in Punta Arenas, an English-speaking one, Gabriel went there, but his pronunciation should be more fluid in my opinion, but I guess this really shows us that he spent a lot of time up in that tree. If you're one of my followers and you have no idea who Justin Trudeau is, he's basically a taller and thinner version of Boric. They're both woke, they're both very progressive, they're always talking about following your dreams and thinking about a better future while thinking that socialism works. And both of them are fucking up their countries. Very recently Justin Trudeau did something that a lot of people are claiming he's a tyrant, and I have to agree with them. A lot of truckers started to protest against the vaccines in Canada. Here the COVID rules are very strict. There it's even worse. And the truckers were demanding freedom, they were stopping on the highway, and they were doing a peaceful protest to demand the government to remove these very strict rules. And you know what Justin did? He did something that had never been done before in the history of Canada. He invoked the Emergency Act. That's basically like the estado de emergencia in Chile, if you know what I mean. Which means that he gives the government entire control to take down this protest and to do whatever is necessary to stop them. This led to a lot of violence in really non-violent protests, and he even went that far to completely froze the bank accounts of the people who were involved in those protests. Those people were not able to take their own money from their personal accounts because the government forbid them. If you're thinking that sounds pretty familiar, I mean it does, because in Chile the truckers also started some protests against the violence, specifically in La Araucanía. And what did the government did? They threatened them and they forced them to stop these protests, otherwise they would take some severe action. Both of these governments in Chile and in Canada have done nothing against some really violent protests, in Chile from October 18th and in Canada from the racial protests. Both of these governments are very hypocritical when they talk about violence in protests, because they do nothing when people actually burn down cities and tear everything apart. For them, that's a peaceful protest. But when people demand freedom, when people simply want security, they shut everything down. It's a mess. So they got together and they spoke about their wokeness and how important it is to be very inclusive. Also in Canada, they have a relatively similar situation with the indigenous people. Like here we have the Mapuche, but here a lot of Mapuches are terrorists. It's a different situation. But in Canada, they gave a lot of money and a lot of land to the indigenous people, as an ancient debt. And I'm like, girl, that's not it. And here in Chile, Elisa Loncon saw that and she started to drool because that's her dream. And they also spoke about that. But I really want to focus on some of the things that they said while they met.
Thank you for choosing Canada, but mostly thank you for the work you do in bringing our countries together and making sure that our voice resonates strongly together on the world stage. I look forward to the work we will do together to advance progressive policies as like-minded partners at the Summit of the Americas in LA this week, but also in the months and indeed in the years to come.
Justin pretty much confirmed that both of them have very progressive agendas, and these are the ones that are completely destroying countries. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. Canada is a hellhole right now. And Chile as well. I mean, yes, Gabriel has only been in office for 3 months, but the problems that we dragged from the last government, he should be able to do something about it. The only thing he does is he says, we won't allow this to happen. We're good people. And then nothing happens. You have to take action.
Merci, mon ami. Bienvenue.
Merci beaucoup, Premier ministre. Je suis très heureux d'avoir l'opportunité d'être ici au Canada. I'm really happy to be here in Canada and all my country. It's really honored the receiving that you've gave us. I'm going to deliver this press conference in Spanish so the people in our country can also be part of it, of this friendship that we are reinforcing now. Hoy día nos hemos reunido.
I was waiting for the Mari Mari Compuche, but he never said it. Because he was very impressed, because in Canada they speak both English and French, and he was talking about the importance of language and to embrace the indigenous language. When in Canada, 20% of the population speak French and the rest speak English, and in Chile, less than 5% of people speak Mapudungun, but they're trying to make it like this is an official language of this country. I mean, the Mapuche people barely even speak Mapudungun, but they're always trying to be like Mari Mari, but he didn't say it there. I think that was a missed opportunity. Gabriel, you should have said it. A lot of Chilean followers are very proud of him and they're saying like, oh, you're just jealous because he speaks English and French. And I'm like, girl, anyone can learn another language. You know, I speak in Spanish, I speak in English, I'm learning German, and that doesn't prove anything. Because, you know, you can learn a lot of things, but if you're woke, like both of them are, that doesn't mean they're smart.
Con el primer ministro Justin Trudeau y con una delegación de su gobierno para mirar juntos desde el sur del mundo hasta el norte los valores que nos unen. Y esos valores compartidos que hoy día en un mundo que cambia tan rápido es tan importante relevar son la lucha por un crecimiento que sea inclusivo, que respetando y creyendo en la ciencia se haga cargo de la crisis climática que nosotros, los seres humanos, hemos provocado y por lo tanto trabajar en conjunto diversas iniciativas que apunten hacia un desarrollo que sea medioambientalmente sostenible en el tiempo.
I just have to say it is really embarrassing that this is representing us. People from Canada, I'm sorry if you had to witness that. I mean, looking at them together, yes, Justin is a horrible person, but at least he looks the part. You know, he takes care of himself. Gabriel is so fucking ugly. I mean, I just can't do it. I can't deal with this. But I mean, with the things he said, it's no surprise that both of them have very similar agendas. The only thing that I have to say right away is that for Gabriel, it's more easy to go to Argentina a few months ago and read some books there, and now go to Canada to have a little date with Justin. You know, that's so much fun. But he still won't go to La Araucanía, the region where we have terrorism, where a lot of people are suffering each and every day, and the violence has increased in levels that we have never seen before. He has no problem going to Canada, you know, to talk about other countries, talk about gang control, which is something that I will talk right now. But no, to La Araucanía, he doesn't go there. Why he doesn't go there? Because he's a coward. And I can tell you that in 2 languages. Eres un cobarde, you're a coward. And I'm learning German, but I don't know how to say that in German. But I will learn another language to call you that, because that's what you are. Gabriel Boric is a coward. He doesn't have a problem to travel to other countries and talk about how he's so proud of Chile and the mess that he has back here, but he won't go to the place that needs him the most. I mean, we know that he won't do anything there. We know that the solution for him is dialogue. You know, that's a very popular word here in Chile, dialogue. That's not the solution with terrorists. You know what you have to do, but he is too scared to do it. He won't do it. And that's a shame for people in La Araucanía, because every day the violence is increasing. We have some very dangerous people in power right now that support these terrorist groups, and also the country wants to ban guns, which is something that he will say now, that it's literally the worst solution that he can think of.
Un objetivo que tenemos al discutir conjuntamente estos temas, que es que no bastan con las regulaciones al interior de un solo país. Para poder mejorar justamente, por ejemplo, en control de armas, tenemos que promover también legislación internacional. Y tenemos que, ojalá, generar una conciencia, más allá de nuestras fronteras, que la tenencia de armas le hace mal a las sociedades. Y por eso que lo hagamos desde Chile hasta Canadá, ojalá con todos los países que estén entre medio, en particular los que están cerca, ojalá sirva de algo.
A globalist agenda to ban guns. I'm not surprised. I really am not. You know, in the United States, it's the same thing. Yes, we do know the dangers that go around in there with guns. But he says that he wants to take all guns. And then, yes, he will persecute the bad guys. He will persecute the criminals and the terrorists. How you're gonna do that if you're too scared to use the force to take control? He says that he doesn't want criminals with guns, but he also doesn't want everyday people with guns, because guns are bad. Why? Because you think guns kill people? No. People kill people. If that's the case, we should ban cars, because cars are the #1 cause of death everywhere. And if we remove cars, people won't be dying anymore. So that's a solution to make everything safer, because the world is such a nice and beautiful place. No, guns are sadly a necessity, and these countries are trying to disarm the people, so the government is the only one with guns. And we have to be honest, the criminals will still have guns. They think that if they ban guns, that no guns will ever be allowed and no one will have guns. The criminals will always have guns, and they will always find a way to own one. But the everyday people who only want to protect themselves and to feel safer, won't have one, because they will follow the rules, your dumb rules. And that's the problem. People need something to feel safe. People need this, because the world is not a happy place. The world is not a safe place. And it's a shame, but it's a reality. And if you take away guns from good people, bad people will have more reasons to hurt, and bad people will have free will. And that's not the thing that we want. Yes, we should have more strict gun control, but that doesn't mean that we should ban guns. But these people know what they're doing by banning guns. They want people to not be able to defend themselves against an oppressive government. They want people to only rely on the government to save them, to make them feel secure, and that's not going to happen. People need something to be protected. And now I have to respond to this speech that he gave in English to the youth about politics and the importance of young people getting involved in all of this.
The important thing is that youth can renew the way we think, and so please never stop questioning, so never stop asking, never stop proposing.
I will never stop questioning, the left and all of your horrible policies. And I have to agree with you, we have to renew politics. There's a lot of things that older people did that we have to fix, and we have to step in and really take action. And that's why I started a YouTube channel, to speak my mind and maybe inspire people to do the same. And yes, Gabriel, I will never stop questioning you.
Even that it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. We've made a lot of mistakes. And the older people had made a lot of big, huge mistakes.
Of course, you have to blame the old government of Sebastián Piñera. They made a lot of mistakes. But there were a lot of mistakes because of your influence, of your side of the political spectrum. The left was the one that fucked up this country since October 18th in 2019.
So we need you in public spaces. Don't embarrass. Don't embarrass to talk.
Don't embarrass to talk. It's don't be embarrassed to talk. That's how you say it. Don't be embarrassed to talk. Don't be embarrassed to talk. That's like very Tarzan of you to say. Know your words.
We guys really need you, and we need you not alone. We need you organized.
Obviously, he's promoting collectivism to young kids. What else can you expect from someone who started like that? He started very young, protesting and being out there in the streets. He never worked. In case you don't know him, he never worked. He went from being a leader in some protest back when he was in high school, then when he was studying, but he never got his diploma from law school. And right away, he was chosen as a congressman, a diputado here, and then as president. That's quite a career for you.
We need you advocating for rights. We need you protesting. We need you helping other people.
That's a very leftist thing to say, we need you protesting, we need you advocating for your rights. And what about responsibilities? That's something that I always think about. What about responsibilities? What about what people have to do to gain their rights? Because, it's not something that you just go out there and you just claim, give me my rights. I'm like, what have you done to earn them? What have you done to be a better person to society? All these people need is to raise more sheep so they can follow them and they can blindly do everything they say, because they have to demand their rights, and he is Lord and Savior. His followers basically think that he's Jesus, that he's here to save us from the evils of capitalism.
Boris va a cambiar todo. Todo va a cambiar, Boris. Él es el mejor.
I think it's a shame that these kids have to listen to someone to promote collectivism, not individualism. That for me is a huge sin because I'm an individualist myself and I don't believe in collectivism. That's why I do everything myself. I started this YouTube channel on my own. I work on my own. No one helps me. And that's how I grow. And that's how I think is the healthier way to build a better society. As individuals to grow into a better society, not as a collective, just like he wants. But yeah.
In politics, it's never easy. You will, if you decide to come along this path, you will have a lot of headaches and there's a lot of sacrifice, but it's worth it because you're not working just for yourself, but the society. And that's really meaningful.
You're right, this is not an easy path at all. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to consider. There's a lot of things that you have to know when you get involved in politics. And it's important to know that. I personally haven't had any headaches. I live pretty well myself. I don't know about you because you're fucking up everything you do and you have done a shitty job so far. But all I have to say is that girl in the back, that's me. I mean, she knew what he was about. She knew he's a mess and she was judging him. I love her. Younger people think he's intelligent. Younger people think that he actually has something to say when he doesn't. And this speech talking about kids go on protesting and normalizing that because, in Chile here, people protest about everything. There are some protests that are really valid, like, the ones where people ask for freedom, just like they did in Canada, or safety, just like they did here in Chile with the truckers. But he doesn't allow those type of protests. For them, those are violent protests. Those are fascist protests. But people destroying cities, people burning things to the ground, people harassing other people for what they think, that's normal. And that's a shame. It's a shame that we are being represented by someone who actively participated in the destruction of Chile since October 18th, 2019, and that is trying to make children go the same path that he did. I think that the best way to grow as a society, as I say, was individualism. I don't think collectivism worked. It has never worked before. Yes, we are social creatures, but we can't do anything if we're always thinking about the others, if we're always thinking about helping others. I mean, yes, I do this and I talk about politics online to hopefully make other people wake up from these dumb progressive ideas to think about themselves, to, just like he said, question things. You have to question things and you have to not take everything for granted. You always have to do your research. You always have to learn everything yourself. And yes, you can work for the rest. I love doing these videos for my followers and for people who watch me, who I pretty much say thank you every day. But I have to do this for myself. I do this to educate myself. And so I can be better in the future and in my everyday life. And these people with their progressive agendas and talking about collectivism, talking about gang control, all these wonderful things without going to the actual problem. I mean, in Canada, they have to do something about the truckers. And I don't know what other problems they will have. I would love to speak to someone from there to understand more about their country. But here in Chile, the situation in La Araucanía with terrorists is extremely dangerous and a lot of people are really suffering because of that. And the government, they do nothing. All they talk about is dialogue. All they talk about is we have to approach this in the most peaceful way possible. We will give you land. We will give you money. We will give you special benefits just for being an indigenous people. When in reality, the indigenous people, all they want is to be free from those terrorists who are using the indigenous tribe to commit these crimes and be completely free. They walk around free in this country and that's not something that is acceptable. I really hope that Gabriel enjoys this little trip and his date with Justin. He's having fun, that's cool, but a lot of people here are suffering. The economy is going downhill. Everything is fucked up and people in Araucanía need a leader. I mean, I know you're not a leader. I know that you're a mess. And I know that you read a lot. You know a lot about books and about poetry and how to make a beautiful speech. That's how you win your followers' hearts. But we need action. We need someone with balls to be the leader of this country, not someone who is gonna read you a poem and go to this country and talk about, oh, I love Chile, when you pretty much spent the last 2 years trying to destroy this country and now you're the president and doing some very awful public policies to continue fucking up this country. That's not good. And just like you said, I'm going to continue to question everything and being very active in the political world because I'm not going anywhere and I really enjoy this. And that's all I wanted to say in regards to this little date that they had in Canada. I think it's not a surprise that both of them are basically the same, you know, two woke tyrants in development. You know, they always like to hide these totalitarian ideas with the progressive, with being all inclusive, with talking about the things that are going to make the woke people be happy and proud. And if you dare to criticize them, you know, they always come for you, and they always do. But I don't care. Just like he said, I'm never gonna stop questioning and I'm never gonna stop speaking up because this is fucked up. And I defend my ideas and I always will. But just like the truckers in Canada who love their country and love the freedom of that country, I also love the freedom here in Chile. And I'm not going to stay silent when someone like him and the entire government that is ruling us is completely tearing down everything that we work so hard to achieve. No, I will never shut up. Not even in English, not even in Spanish. Nunca me voy a callar, weón. Please leave a comment down below telling me what you think about this whole situation. What do you think about Justin Trudeau? What do you think about both of them meeting? If you're from Canada, I would really love to hear your story and how you guys are dealing with this type of government. You know, we recently started with this woke government very recently, and we have to wait and see how this whole thing plays out. And that will be all. This was my first time speaking English in camera and it was so much fun. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and please leave a like, leave a comment and subscribe. I mean, if you made it this far, you have to be subscribed because, you know, I made a video in English for you and I even put subtitles so you can understand. So please cut me some slack. So that will be all. I really hope you have a wonderful week and I will see you on the next one. Bye.